The supporters of Vermont's Proposal 5, Article 22, will tell you late-term abortions are rare and only occur in extreme medical emergencies. I can tell you from personal experience that this is not true. I am the survivor of a failed late-term saline infusion abortion at 31 weeks of gestation. That's nearly 8 months along, and it makes me physically ill that Vermont could become an abortion tourism destination for such procedures should the abortion amendment known as Article 22 or Proposal 5 pass this November. Proposal 5, Article 22, would enshrine in the Vermont Constitution an unrestricted right to abortion throughout all 9 months of pregnancy. If the voters of Vermont don't vote this down, the Vermont Legislature would be constitutionally prohibited from passing any law that could restrict abortion, regulate abortion procedures, or protect the unborn in any way at any point in their development. This is not where most Vermonters, even those who consider themselves pro-choice, are when it comes to abortion policy. In 2 recent polls, one national and one focused on California voters, just 10 and 13% of people, respectively, were okay with unrestricted abortion up until the point of birth. Roughly 90% of humans agree, including the authors of Roe v. Wade, that some restrictions on abortion should exist at some point, at least after the unborn child is viable outside the womb. But this kind of common sense and compassionate regulation would be unconstitutional in Vermont should this amendment pass. And as such, people from around the country would flock here to get and to perform such procedures free from legal interference or punishment. This is not speculative on my part. It is by design, as admitted to by supporters of the amendment.
Do you anticipate that there will be an uptick in abortion circumvention tourism?
I think that's likely here in Vermont, particularly because New Hampshire, a bordering state, recently passed restrictions on abortion after 24 weeks.
24 weeks is 6 months along, and the New Hampshire laws Carter refers to, in fact, allow for abortion after 24 weeks. When a mother's life or health is at risk, or when a fatal fetal anomaly incompatible with life exists, meaning the infant won't survive outside the womb. So what the law professor is saying is yes, people will be traveling to Vermont to get abortions in the 3rd trimester after the baby is viable, and there are no health issues in play for either the baby or the mother, because this will be perhaps the only place in America where such a radically horrific policy is allowed. I was a perfectly healthy developing baby in the womb of a perfectly healthy young mother. My biological mother, over 7 months along in her pregnancy, was pressured by her own mother, a nurse no less, to abort the pregnancy. The method they chose for doing so was a toxic saline injection into the amniotic fluid surrounding me. This toxic salt solution was intended to scald me to death from the outside in. After 5 days of floating in that toxic salt solution, the doctors induced labor. I was supposed to be born dead, but I miraculously survived. Countless others like me do not. Please don't let Vermont be the place that endorses, celebrates, subsidizes, and protects late-term abortion up to the point of birth. Being pro-choice does not mean you have to sign on to this. This amendment goes way too far. Please vote no, either on the ballot you get in the mail or when you go to the polls on November 8th.